All right, good morning, good evening, good night. Welcome into another Nifty Q show. We're interviewing influential founders, leaders, and people in the NFT industry. I'm excited to have you all in here for today's episode. I'm sitting with Robert Hoogendorn, head of content at DappRadar. We'll be talking in depth about the Metaverse, founding PlayToEarn.com, how he's seen the P2E industry evolve over the past year, his current work at DappRadar, and much more. Rob, I'm excited to have you in, man. You're another friend that I like to have on the network here over a certain amount of time. You've been here multiple times, so it's good to have you here.
Yeah, it's awesome to be here. I think we've been chatting for 1.5, 2 years, occasionally, since we became sandbox neighbors. And we met each other in the Metaverse, even though it didn't really exist yet as a playable world. I mean, we were neighbors.
Yeah, the Metaverse is going to be a major discussion here because your Crypto Voxels events used to be awesome, man. I don't know if you're still having them. Are you still doing those? Because I used to love going to those.
No, I don't do those anymore. I wish I could. I definitely see still demand and opportunity to do the kind of stuff. It's just, it takes an awful lot of time.
Yeah,
it takes an awful lot of time, and if you have a job and do something on top, it becomes half-assed, and I can't do anything half-assed. That's not how I function.
I love the way that you work, man. PlayToEarn.com was a great resource for me as I got more knowledgeable around the space. So really liked the work you're doing. Great to see that you're at DappRadar now. Great to see that you were able to sell PlayToEarn.com in a sense. I love IRL. I love celebrating IRL purchases. So it's nice to see you in a new abode as well.
Yeah, exactly. No, it was Play to Earn online, by the way.
You're not wrong.
So that a side note, it still exists. It's in the hands of an American guy. He bought it for me. And now he's building a new team, and he's expanding on what I built. The reason I sold it, it reached a point where it was becoming too big, and I needed to have improvements, and improvements would require or investments or me selling the whole bunch. I didn't feel like getting investors on board, because then I had to share my own success, and I didn't want to do that. So I was like, okay, if I can find somebody who wants to buy, then that's awesome. That's basically what happened, because the website required updates, required developments to further grow, and I couldn't do it all by myself.
Yeah, let's touch on this story and let's go in depth, because I think that's a really cool piece in your timeline. But prior to founding Play to Earn Online, finding crypto, finding NFTs, your standard story when you start a podcast. Here we go. What is your origin story here, Rob, as we get started?
My crypto origin story happened because I immigrated to Turkey. I still had the Dutch job, got money on my Dutch bank account, but I needed money on my Turkish bank account to pay for groceries. So I was going to the ATM all the time, paying 5% or whatever it is to get money from the bank. And I was like, yeah, after doing that for a couple of months, there must be a cheaper way. So that's how I discovered Bitcoin. At that time, Bitcoin was $200, and I literally used Bitcoin to go from one fiat to the other, not saving any Bitcoin at all. So yeah.
Is this 16? Is this 2016 timeframe?
Yeah. 15, I think.
15.
It's like, looking back at it, it's not even like, I'm happy I discovered it that early, but it's super painful to realize that if I look at my earliest purchases from for where I bought Bitcoin, I see 2 Bitcoin, about 2 Bitcoin, 4 Bitcoins a month to transfer my part of my salary over to Turkey. It's like, oh God, if I would just kept it for a couple of months, for just 1 Bitcoin each month, put that aside. But yeah, I didn't.
Yeah.
That's how it goes. After that, so my job was, I was always working in gaming industry, Been part of early esports in the early 2000s. I worked at magazines, websites, press agencies, TV programs, all doing all kinds of stuff about video games and technology. So obviously, I was interested in gaming on the blockchain after discovering Bitcoin, and then I looked recently at my earliest NFTs, and among them, I got some early Axies, not Origins, by the way.
You have a lot of W's, Rob. You're telling me all about your L's, but you have a lot of W's in the space.
I have W's, yes, of course. But I have some cool stuff, like I'm not like some CryptoKitties, some early Neon District stuff. There was a card game called Tides of Magic, and like back in the early days, play to earn. Not even play to earn, just blockchain gaming. There were lots of card games because card games are like the easiest to make. But Tides of Magic had something cool. They had like a sense of interoperability. So if you had an NFT from a certain collection, you would get a card that matches that collection. So I have 2 Axie Affinity cards for Tides of Magic. And the Tides of Magic isn't live anymore, but the NFTs are still there. So it's like this remnant of the past that still connects to this popular blockchain game. It's kind of fun.
Rob, I want to continue on this conversation. I like the old school talk, but I just need a timeline, like dates, like at least a year, so that someone that's maybe paying attention is like, when did this happen? So the Tides of Magic was like, is that like 2019? Is that
18?
18? Okay.
2018. Yeah.
You're archaic in the NFT space, man.
I'm now going to verify. Oh no, the Tides of Magic is 19. Yeah. It's 19 here. I'm not even that old school. Tides of Magic is 19. Like, I discovered NFT gaming in late 2018, I guess.
Okay. And take me through that timeline. So what other games were you looking at, and why did it kind of pique your interest at the time?
Like Gods Unchained, I got in quite early, but like I wasn't crypto heavy at that time. So like spending $10 was already like, okay, that's. I had this free to play mindset. So spending $10 is already quite a lot. So I think I bought for $20. I bought some packs for Gods Unchained, and of course that's not how it works. You need to buy for a couple of hundred, and then you have a couple of good pools. But I Gods Unchained I got in early. Neon District I played early. Like some Axie, Tides of Magic when it was still live. Like those are the types of games, like late 2018, early 2019 that I got into. If you're familiar with each of those, you will notice that they're all turn-based. So just to put it into perspective, like in those times, like most of the blockchain games were made by blockchain developers and not by actual game developers. And that automatically means that they're dealing with a lack of knowledge in a certain field. And what's happening right now around us is that actual game developers get involved, people with a game development background, and they are able to actually create interactive worlds as you can have on your PlayStation or Xbox. So I'm super excited for the 24 months ahead of us, to be honest.
Yeah, it feels. I want to get into maybe what your thoughts are on the next, like you said, 2 years. But it feels like Axie is maybe the only one that kind of evolved into that next stage from that timeline, right? I think Gods Unchained is doing okay, but is there a reason why you think maybe Axie was the one out of all of those to really gain mass success, having a first mover advantage?
No, yeah, it's first mover advantage, and they were actually one of the first to actually introduce play to earn, like all those blockchain games. So let's say Gods Unchained. Yes, they had NFTs. You could play with NFTs, but you couldn't really play and earn anything. So like what propelled Axie to its current heights is the play to earn aspect. It's not without reason that big chunk of the Axie community is in Southeast Asia, because they can earn from playing a video game. and over time, like Axie Affinity is becoming almost like a culture. Like it's a lifestyle for some people, and I think that's something that's fundamentally different from how like commercial like AAA games work. Like there it's a consumer product, but it's a product you use for entertainment, and after that you don't rely on it.
I see.
And I think with NFTs and with play to earn, and you put time in it because it's part of your life, and that creates a whole different vibe. I mean, it's the same with Bored Apes. Completely different topic, but why is Bored Apes popular? Because everybody who has a Bored Ape is super involved, and that creates community. Is everybody involved about that Supreme sweater? Maybe a little, but not in the same way. Like it's different. So I think the bottom up structure of play to earn communities, of NFT communities, that's something very powerful. And now I'm completely
we're
going into different directions, and I tend to do that a lot. But maybe you can make a nice bridge.
It's like my job to keep this on track, and it always ends up 10 minutes into the episode getting into a rabbit hole that's so deep. But you mentioned quickly that you didn't want to spend a lot on Gods Unchained, right? Has that mindset changed when you've been in the play to earn industry for a little while? And how do we kind of go about in the next 2 years making something that's accessible, and also something where the founders can get value because they're charging $100, $200 an asset? How has that mindset changed since you first got in? Should you spend money on a game like Gods Unchained? Should you put more money in, or do you think it's Gods Unchained's job to maybe keep it free to play or have that access?
No, without referring to Gods Unchained or any other game, I think personally, or just in general, I think nobody should invest in every game. Like investing, if you want to invest in something and you invest a little bit in every game, then no, you're not gonna make it. Like so to say, like if you do it for investment purposes, don't put $100 here, $100 there, because that won't work. However, so like if I like a project and I really believe in it, I try to. I mean, I'm not by any means a whale. Like I can't spend $100,000 on NFTs for a certain gaming project. But if I really believe in it, then I try to get as much in my budget as possible. And where is this going? I think a good play to earn game like needs investors, needs people who keep the economy going. So if you look at Axie, like it needs people breeding Axies, it needs people farming, etc. But it also needs farmers. It also needs. And it sounds very like, how can you say this without making it very capitalistic? But it is an economical structure. So you have like landowners or something in that vein, and you need peasants. That sounds very rude, and that's not how I mean it. But you need people who play the game because it's fun, and that's what's fundamentally still missing in many play to earn games. And I have good hopes that there will be various games out there that will challenge the AAA industry. But like first, for a game to become a success, it needs to be fun. Like if you can't play it without investing, and if you invest, the game is no fun, then what's the purpose? Then it's literally a yield farming GameFi project or a project to flip. So first and foremost, like games need to become fun, and I think that's slowly happening. And
Yeah, I was looking on my Twitter timeline this morning and just kind of doing the general morning scroll, and I got a lot of posts for some reason on like DeFi, and there were some charts from like Sushi and a couple other projects, and they just look absolutely abysmal. Not that the space as a whole right now doesn't look absolutely abysmal, but I think DeFi kind of mirrors what you're talking about, right? Because you don't have something that's necessarily engaging outside of like maybe 2 or 3 projects. So there's no stickiness to users. So they just move on, and the token price reflects the fact that they have no users after a certain amount of time, maybe after the yield dies. It has more to do with maybe the soul of the platform as opposed to the yield or what they're making.
In essence, like yield farming, I mean, or like it is a very like if you have a bet or like an average product with a token that's on the yield farming platform, they just grab the high yield, sell it off, and go to the next. So there's no foundation to be made. No, so if you want to stabilize your token economy, and you just throw in high yield in a yield farm and you hope for the best, that's not going to work.
Yeah. What's your thoughts
And
on
then,
SLP in this discussion?
nou ja, SLP needs like the hurdle of SLP. Just for full disclosure, Smooth Love Potion, Axie Infinity, SLP.
Doing my job again. Yeah, continue.
Okay.
I'm struggling today, guys.
So SLP, like you use it to create Axies, and if nobody's buying Axies, then there's no use in creating Axies. So there's no use for SLP. So the price drops. Like the price of SLP went bonkers when everybody started jumping into Axie and starting to play to earn. So they need that cycle, and Axie, Sky Mavis, they're absolutely pioneering. Like there has nothing been in this world. There has been nothing closely similar to what they're doing. So hats off to them. They're really doing a great job. But their economy isn't perfect, and they're now trying to build a program. Now they're trying to have other people make games within the Axie ecosystem, and those games need to utilize SLP, and they also need to burn SLP. And I think now that's a step in the direction to at least stabilize the SLP downtrend, even though today it's up. But okay.
So let's hop back into this timeline of yourself and founding Play to Earn Online. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the episode, big resource for me. You know, I was hosting NFT Live for like the first time, and your website was heavily featured on those episodes, and I used to love it just from a gamer's perspective, right? You just had the right approach of both reporting and also kind of giving your thoughts on what's happening here. So what was the situation where you sat down and said, I need to do this for the space?
As I said, I worked in the video game industry for a long time, over 15 years. I was working for a Dutch company, got laid off because I was the only one working from abroad, and the boss no longer wanted that. They got a new management and stuff like that.
It's ironic.
Yeah, so they fired me, and I was freelancing a bit, and I was like trying to read about blockchain gaming, and I couldn't really find a lot. There were a couple of websites, but they updated maybe once per week or maybe twice per day. And I was like, yeah, come on, there must be more than this. This is so thin. Like I was used to, if you read Eurogamer or IGN or GameSpot or those gaming websites, they have at least 10, 20 messages per day. So I was like, yeah, come on. In blockchain gaming, we should also have something like that. And as I said, I was freelancing, so I was sitting at home a lot. So why not build it myself? And that's how it started in the early 2020.
And with what mission? You're like, what were you specifically targeting? I mean, it makes sense. I'm covering play to earn games, but beyond that, what was like your thoughts when you first founded it? Because I'm sure you were like having those nights where you're like, this could become something big that I could potentially sell one day.
In the beginning, I didn't have that thought at all. Like I wanted to build something, create content that people would find educational. So I wanted to be educational. I wanted to be newsy, and I was hoping that my regular friends or former gaming industry colleagues would be reading it and finding it interesting. So it really started as a passion project, and I think by the end of 2020, when I organized the first Play to Earn festival, now I realized, okay, this is going to be bigger than just a passion project. So yeah.
Yeah, I worked for a company called ICO Alert back in 2017, 2016.
Yeah, I used that one. Yeah.
Yeah, see, look, small space here, but that site was exponential, right? Like it just like for one day it just hit, and then it was just the view count increased, the exposure increased. It was just a rocket ship. Was that what you saw when you founded Play to Earn? Like, what was the timeline of, okay, I'm making the content, no one's really reading it, and then all of a sudden you just get hit with everything?
Yeah, like the first couple of months, you had a couple of hundred readers, maybe 1,000 in a month, very little. I think after like the first couple, there's some nuance to it, because in the first couple of months I tried to run it on a decentralized platform. So I used a blogging service from Unstoppable Domains. Didn't work as I wanted. I tried to make my own website on IPFS. Didn't work as I wanted. So ultimately I went back to the good old Web 2.0 WordPress, and that did the job.
Why? So, why did it do the job better than the others?
Because you can't edit stuff anymore. Like, so the moment you publish it, it's there. Like, it's very difficult to turn things around, or and at some point, like when I used the Unstoppable Domains blog, which was still in beta at that time, it didn't want to upload anything anymore, and I got really annoyed. So I went back to good old Web 2.0. And so in June or something, Play to Earn Online became a traditional website. And by that time, I already had the newsletter for a couple of months. And I think it took till November, so November 2020, before I reached like 10K, 20K readers per month. And after that, it boomed. So like November, January, and then like early, like let's say March, so around the Axie Infinity hype, also my website boomed a lot.
Got it. Mixed within this conversation here about this timeline is COVID, and I kind of want to frame the question as, if COVID did not happen, would we have seen the adoption of NFTs, Play to Earn, in the same way we did?
Yeah, that's a difficult question. I mean, if you purely look at the stories that hit mainstream media, like people in Indonesia, in the Philippines, finding a job in Play to Earn because they don't have a job in real life anymore. So based from that perspective, I think COVID helped a lot to put eyeballs onto Play to Earn as a blockchain gaming element. Would it be? I mean, I think like something like Axie Infinity definitely benefited from that. Would anything be different? No, maybe the numbers would be a bit lower without COVID, but I still think we would have the same situation where certain games are popular and others are struggling, and like I don't think any development would have changed, but like eyeballs, media attention, yeah, that definitely helped. That's how I look at it. I mean, it's also, if I look at myself, like also for me, like during COVID, I basically was able to work twice as hard on Play to Earn because I was only sitting inside.
Yeah, it's interesting to like have that split of where we would have been personally as a society, as an entire world, like if that didn't happen. So there's some good things that happened out of that, though. You got to put double the work into Play to Earn, and it turned out well. You recently sold it. You're working for DappRadar now, but tell me about why it was time in your mind to move on from Play to Earn.
No, like I didn't feel like it was necessarily time to move on, but I didn't want to deal with um, shared ownership. I wasn't comfortable with the idea of sharing my child. So yeah, I was like, it's or I build myself and I get like third parties involved that I contract or something like that. But I didn't feel like that would be manageable for me. Like I'm not that kind of. I've never done like setting up a business from scratch and then doing a sales division plus content division and building all that stuff up. So I was like, yeah, is that something I want? uh, Around that same time, people from DappRadar approached me whether I had interest in having conversations. So basically collided the two events: me joining DappRadar and me selling Play to Earn. And yeah, it's I don't I'm not I would at first I thought I would feel sad about it selling it, but I don't. I do find I'm still in the Discord there, so I regularly check in and just to see who's there and just to chat a bit. But yeah,
Yeah.
it just was time because it wasn't a project I could grow further with my background and skills. I just realized it's not something I can do. So it was either selling or struggling to keep up with demand. And yeah, I chose the former.
Yeah, it was almost like your baby was growing up and it needed to kind of have another.
Yeah, needs to leave the house.
Yeah, there you go. Leave the nest a little bit.
Yeah.
So, I mean, in this sales process, did you find, were you like specifically looking for a suitor that maybe you knew was going to do the right thing? Or was it just, like, hey, this was the first one that kind of came through the door. This is the right time. I know you said you mentioned that the founders are now in the US, and I don't want to like dox them or anything, of course, but in that process of selling, were you cognizant of like who you were selling to?
Yeah, I had conversations with three parties, and I chose for the one that's not only like the price range wise, they're all around the same league. Like some of them wanted a longer commitment for me to help to maintain content production, and others didn't, and that helped. But yeah, it's what was the question?
It was just like, what were you looking at when it came to a suitor?
What was I looking at? Yeah. Like of course, like I checked the background of the people. Like, okay, are they in crypto? If not, what have they done in the past? Are they familiar with setting up businesses, with hiring teams? Like this person who bought the website, he has created several other businesses. He has various other websites. He also has business aside of the website, internet stuff. He's into silver trading, I think. So, like, he has a very diverse background, a very business-oriented background. And I thought, like, okay, that's probably like he won't write an article, but he knows how to make a team and build a business. And I felt like that's what Play to Earn needed.
Love it.
So yeah, that's basically one of the reasons why it went to that person.
And so you're head of content now at DappRadar. DappRadar has been around for a minute. I remember when the NFT games were first starting to roll out, Axie Infinity being one of them. DappRadar was a resource you could go to and like see the meter move from 600 users to 1,200 users, and now it's just like astronomical and exponential growth here for the space. What do you do at DappRadar now, and how has it been?
I've been with DappRadar now for a year. Like they've been around for 4 years already. So 2018 they launched, and like they launched out of the idea that to track dApps, decentralized applications, and tracking dApps in this case means counting user wallets, counting transactional volume. With the rise of DeFi, looking at the total value locked. With the rise of NFTs, looking at NFT trading volumes. So it's at first, like a dApp was only for DeFi. Like it was literally like the only thing you could do on the blockchain was swapping tokens, and that changed over time. So DappRadar is becoming much more than just DeFi dApps. Nowadays it has it tracks games, it tracks NFT collections, it lists recent sales, all kinds of charts, and ultimately what it wants to become, what they want to become, what we want to become, is the world's dApp store. Like a central point where everybody can find metrics and find information to discover the dApp that they would want to use on any blockchain. So it doesn't matter which vertical or which blockchain, DappRadar tracks it. And right now we are tracking over 30 different blockchains. And at the rate that things are going, by the end of the year it could very well be 60 or 70.
Yeah.
So things grow very fast. And how am I liking it? It's different from play to earn, of course. Like play to earn was my baby, and here there was already an entire structure. But it's amazing to be part of the team because there's a team, there's a group of developers, there's designers, there is all kinds of people who participate in growing the ecosystem, and it's really interesting and fun to see how, even though many people work from home. When I joined, we were 25 people. I was one of the first hired during COVID times. And over the past year, DappRadar got new funding. I think it was a couple of million, 5 million or something. They got a new funding round. And we've been hiring and expanding our team exponentially. So, and with that, we have lots of working from home positions. And it's amazing that it works. Like we are building, we are releasing products, expanding our services, optimizing our databases, all that kind of stuff, and everybody works remote from Europe to. We started to hire in the US now, so Asia, Africa, all over the place, and so that's super interesting. Because that just shows that something like an office is old school.
It's ironic that what got you into the space, being working for someone who wanted to maybe not have anybody remote, is now what you're doing on a day-to-day basis. So exactly. My old boss fired me because I was working remote, and now everybody's working remote. Yeah. I want to give a quick shout out to the chat really quick. We've got Asmodai, Valerius, Coca Jenkins, Prodigy. Of course, we have Hash Rhymes here. Guys, we are doing this live on YouTube. If you want to catch us afterwards, we are on Spotify. We are on Apple Podcasts, all those podcasting platforms. But I appreciate the live chatters in here today. Rob, I have a question related to working at DappRadar and the metrics here, because you've been there for a year. We're working on more of the content, but it's DappRadar. There's still metrics and things all around you. I'm guessing. What are some things from a metric standpoint that someone in the NFT space should be looking at? And then I guess piggybacking off that is what you've learned from a metric standpoint, being at DappRadar on a day-to-day basis for the past year. So like a metrics related question, if you will.
Yeah, like if you look at DappRadar charts, we look at trading volumes and stuff like that, and active wallets, blah blah. Those things, if you're talking about like what is a good investment for NFTs, I'm not quite sure if those are the best metrics. What you should do is probably read our NFT reports. We have valuation reports, and new dApps reports, where we look at NFT collections that stand out for some reason. And one of the things we look at is, for example, a whale index. So it has a collection, a large concentration of whales. If yes, who are those whales? Are those whales famous for flipping stuff or for holding? Like, let's say it's Pranksy involved, or is 0xB involved? Like, like those types of knowing those types of things can influence what you want to get out of a collection. It also depends on what you want. Like, do you want to be part of this community, or do you want to flip? Like, and if you want to flip, then you definitely need to. I would advise to read those reports, and just to understand like what types of thought processes there could be. It's all about like who buys a lot, how often do they sell, how long does a certain NFT collector hold on to their collection. If a big whale buys 50 pieces, how much does he sell after 2 months? How much does he sell after 6 months? What is his general tactic? And that really influences how you should look at that collection from an investment point of view. Again, like if you just love the community and have one NFT and just like to be there, then by all means, then there's no reason to dive into metrics and stuff like that, because you like the community. But if you're in it from an investment point of view, then those types of things can definitely be useful.
This is a piggyback kind of question here off the answer that you just gave. As far as being around in DappRadar for the last year, is there any like long-held thought processes or beliefs that you had before joining that now, over the past year, looking at some metrics or just being around your colleagues, you've now changed your thoughts or like learned something new over the past year?
Like I'm still not a big DeFi user. Like, sure, I provide some liquidity left and right and I stake in the sandbox, but that's more out of my passion for Metaverse and for gaming. But like we internally we have lots of I'm not going to call it courses, because that's a little bit it sounds a bit too heavy, but like we have lots of informal presentations where somebody just talks about what they have learned. So we had one of the team members talked about flash loans, super complicated stuff. But if you know how that works and you can do that right, you can make an awful lot of money. But if you do it wrong, you lose a lot. So it's not for me. But like you hear so much being around such a big group of people who are all passionate about this space. And some people, they're more into trading and DeFi. Others are more only into NFTs. Others are into gaming or Metaverse. Like of course, it's very personal what you really like. But you can learn a lot, and I like stuff like flash loans. Sometimes how certain hack works. That's super interesting. I find it interesting. I try to remember it and educate myself, but most of the time it goes above my head.
We had an interoperability question in the chat here, and I think that's a really good segue into what you guys do at DappRadar as well, which is you cover most all blockchains as far as from a metric standpoint, from a content standpoint. So the question here is, as head of content for DappRadar, how do you see the different blockchains evolving? Which blockchain, whether Cardano, Parachute, Ethereum, Flow, Layer 2s on ETH, should be or will any of those be an ETH flipping situation?
Like I find ETH flipping, you're talking about money, like about token values and about market caps. I don't really feel like that. Like if you talk about flippings, then like from a user perspective, from a user perspective, like ETH has already flipped Bitcoin. What are we talking about? Nobody looks at it like that. People look at market cap. Like, will there be an Ethereum god killer or whatever you want to call it? Maybe. However, like I feel that there's no one ruler. Like there's no one blockchain. doesn't exist. Impossible. Like the whole concept of blockchain is decentralization, and in decentralization, there's no place for one blockchain. It's impossible because it goes against the whole concept of decentralization. So I think in the coming years, like interoperability on the technical level, so talking about moving assets value from one blockchain to the other, that will become big. That will become better, smoother, cheaper. Like right now, you have like the bridges from Polygon to Ethereum and kind of stuff, and it's still a bit clunky. And I feel like that there's lots of opportunity for layer 2s or for like let's say Harmony, Cosmos, Polkadot, maybe Near Protocol, Avalanche, all those like EVM connected ecosystems to shine. And ultimately, like the ideal situation is that nobody knows on which blockchain they work. Like everybody has a wallet. The wallet is a smooth interface. There's no bullshit with complicated gas fee systems. Maybe there is a gas fee, but it's not. It looks simple, and that will be the blockchain of the future. Like many chains talking with each other and moving assets from one chain to the other.
I don't want to make our way into the metaverse discussion just yet because it's going to be such a deep rabbit hole, but interoperability, in the way I used to look at this was, eventually, there will be one central Ready Player One universe that will exist where you could bring in all these assets. And only recently, over the last like 2 months, maybe 6 months, have I realized like how big an undertaking that actually would be to like take all of these different assets that all belong to their own, platforms, are on different blockchains, and putting them into one place. It almost is like, at least in the short term, in the next year, 2 years, kind of made me realize that that's not going to exist. Do you feel the same way about interoperable assets inside of games and NFTs?
Yeah, I mean that's a difficult one. Like I'm super passionate about the topic. Like I find it like you, like Ready Player One is like the dream come true from a interoperability point of view. First, I want to take a step back. Like in an essence, we already have that. Like you use a MetaMask wallet, an identity. That identity can move to different dApps, can move to different blockchains. I mean, sure, it's a stupid drop-down menu, but that's what your Ready Player One avatar is right now. It's your clunky MetaMask thingy. Mm-hmm. In the future, there will be a time and that you can use the same character in different 3D virtual worlds, and that's something you would also call a metaverse. Like ideally, the ideal version of the metaverse is of course a 3D world where you walk in, you put your 3D suit on, your haptic suit on, and you go on adventure in a virtual world, either pixelated or super realistic. It doesn't matter. However, like I think like the metaverse right now already kind of exists, but like I said, it's just MetaMask menu.
It's a different medium almost.
Yes, it's a different. Yeah, it looks different, but from a technical perspective, it's there. Now the next step is indeed that you own an NFT, and it's a sword in every other virtual world, or it's a car in every virtual world. That's a bit far away still, but I mean, if you look at what's now happening with avatars, I think this is the first step, like giving people a 3D character, or at least a character that they can use in various virtual worlds. So like Substrata, CryptoVoxels, Decentraland has their own thing, so that's a little bit difficult, but might as well also incorporate it. Like those platforms that will allow VRM avatars to exist. They make the first real interoperable universes. So yeah, I'm super excited about that. Really, like it's I think it's super cool. Like you can use your Meebit or your very soon your CloneX or whatever, and walk around in CryptoVoxels, walk around in Substrata, walk around in VR chat, that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
So,
it seems like World Wide Web did that super well, where they were able to integrate some
yeah,
PFP projects in there. Let's
absolutely.
before we get into the metaverse stuff, I guess we're already in it. So I'll ask you a lightning question. When do we see that Ready Player One universe? Lightning question. Like if I made you guess a year, when do we see Ready Player One with our NFT assets?
Nah, I will make a nice 2030.
2030. Okay, I'll
Yeah,
take that.
yeah,
That's a nice. That's a nice little guess there. I like that. Real quick, I had some other questions come through. Why are there so much? Or let's go with DappRadar utilizing AI or machine learning with data. Are you guys doing any of that?
yeah, yeah, we are. Yeah, there's a very good reason. There's like what we track with DappRadar is users, is active users, and active users, real trades, etc. So we try to avoid anything that's fake, that's blown up, that's bots, spam, etc. A while ago, you had on the Polygon blockchain, you had this guy who was spamming the network to farm something. I even forgot the reason, but he was spamming the network. That's the type of transactions that we ignore. But through machine learning, we can recognize what types of transactions are have a high probability of being fake, and we ignore those in our data. And we do that on every blockchain. So on Ethereum, on Tron, on Polygon, and of course it started with Tron. Like I think DappRadar was one of DappRadar started tracking Ethereum. Then came EOS and Tron. Those were like the first blockchains DappRadar tracked.
You just hit me in the feels with the EOS comment, man. I was a Genesis block investor in EOS, and someone tweeted the other day that EOS or Solana is what EOS should have been, and it like it hurt me so much.
Yeah, but it's kind of true. It's kind of true. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's weird. Like right now, like EOS is like a private blockchain for Upland.
Wow, I haven't looked at EOS in a minute. I just block it out from my mind. What other blockchains? Let's get off EOS before I start to cry. What blockchains are doing this onboarding well? Like what is it going to be like a gasless future? Like those are going to be the ones that do the best from that standpoint. So what blockchains do you like?
Like I find it a bit difficult. Like right now, I tend to do a lot on Polygon and Immutable because they do lots of stuff with gaming. I like gaming, so that's where I go. Will every blockchain be gasless? I think like there will be layers. Like if you look at some, I forgot which games, but there are games out there that have their land sale, let's say on Ethereum, and then they run their gameplay on BSC, their token economy. I think that you will see that kind of stuff more and more. So like dApps like games or ecosystems using different blockchains for different reasons. Talking about interoperability, by the way. And so will one blockchain be better for gaming or for certain purposes? Yeah, it might very well be that certain blockchains will be in favor with certain communities. Personally, like I see a lot in, like I said before, in those layer 2 solutions. So in those solutions that are strongly connected to Ethereum, but provide a smoother, cheaper user experience. Like Harmony, Immutable, Near, Avalanche, those types of chains. will that change when Ethereum 2.0 launches? Maybe, but I don't think like it will influence gas fees that much. Yeah, and when? Yeah, exactly. So, I see a lot of possibilities with those layer 2 solutions.
Yeah, so you just mentioned some blockchains that you believe are doing this well, and for a variety of reasons, of course, like the connection to Ethereum, I agree with. Like there might be even that situation where you have the high value assets on Ethereum, and then you have the other low value assets there on an EVM compatible piece there. Let's talk about specific games, because you mentioned you're a gamer. I am too. What play to earn games are doing things well right now? What P2E games do you like?
What do I like? Like you. I'm an early. I want to say early. Yeah, kind of early. Kind of early investor in the sandbox, and they still didn't launch properly yet. I didn't get into the alpha. I was very annoyed by it, but I still have high hopes for that one.
So you didn't get into the alpha, even though you're like one of the first land sale holders.
Yes.
Me too. To be sad.
I was super annoyed, but I also realized like I don't have a lot of time. Like I work all day, and then in the evening I want to play with my kids a bit. So I don't have an awful lot of time to play anyway. What I'm playing right now sounds stupid. Crazy Defense Heroes. It's a mobile game that Animoca Brands basically turned into a play to earn game, and I started playing it because I was like, okay, let's check it out and see how that play to earn element works. But it's also just a fun game. It's a typical game you play when you're sitting on the couch doing nothing, watching The Office. So yeah. When it comes to bigger projects, I'm excited about. Now, like you said before, World Wide Web. I'm fascinated by it. NFT worlds, super interesting. Further down the road, Guild of Guardians. One of the things I had my eyes on for a long time, and I know you're passionate about, is Star Atlas. That one feels like 6 months ago. It felt like that's the one that got away, and it still feels like that. Like it's still the one I really want to get into.
You should. You still get in. I'll onboard you. I'll onboard you.
Okay.
Are you on Solana at all?
I have a wallet. Yeah. I have some Sol, but that's about it. Like I think I have one NFT on Solana. So I just checked it out. Let me see what's the wallet I have. It's
Phantom.
What is it? No, it's older. The one I use is older.
Oh, you got to get Phantom. That's
Solid. I have Solid.
I have no idea what that. I haven't used it. Phantom has been great. Honestly, it to me, you're talking a lot about user onboarding. I had a great experience with Phantom. I think that wallet onboarding is important. And if it had been shit, I would not have given Solana a chance. And it was good, so I got more involved.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's also mobile, right? Phantom.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah. So they have the Chrome extension and the mobile, but I want to hit that Crazy Defense Heroes, because that is not the game that I would have thought that you would have mentioned. Mobile games.
I know.
Go ahead.
Listen, like you're 30, you're still young. I'm 40. I'm getting old. Like I don't have time to boot my console and play through a 40-hour adventure. Like my PlayStation is collecting dust. So I go to the toilet and take my 10-minute private time and play Crazy Defense Heroes. That's how it works. So
is that all you have to play to get like I wouldn't say a living. Like I'm not saying that that's the only reason we should play this game, but do you get enough out of it just playing maybe 30 minutes a day?
Like enough, you mean like money or pleasure?
Both.
No, like money, no. Like I think if I earn $40 or $50 per month from it, like you get paid per month. So if I earn $40 or $50, it's a lot. Nowadays, like many people play that game, like hundreds of thousands per month. So you split the prize pool. So yeah, it's becoming less. So. But anyway, like it's quite a fun game, and those game rounds, they're quite short. Like in 2-3 minutes you're done, and so it's easy to pick up and play. There's also a reason why I'm kind of excited about Guild of Guardians. I just saw their roadmap, and like end of this year they will have an alpha. So that's still far off. Probably next year. So when I'm even older.
We keep saying that 2022 is like the year of gaming with NFTs, but it really feels like 23 is when all this stuff is going to come out.
No, yes, but I think this is an important year because like many companies will be onboarded. I mean, look at Ubisoft implementing NFTs into Ghost Recon. Electronic Arts expressing their desire to do something with NFTs and play to earn. So I think like this will be a big year, and there will be a big backlash from gamers because like
let's hit on that.
If you don't know it, hit it with a stick and hope it dies. That's basically what's happening.
One of my buddies hit on this perfectly when we were like discussing this, because the Activision stuff, the Ubisoft backlash happened a month and something ago now, and he was like, dude, gamers are like the biggest divas out there. They don't want to change at all. If you make any update as a studio, you get immediate backlash.
Yeah, exactly. Like, have Halo and make the jump increase, or make the jump effort or the jump power decrease 10%. People will flame you and threaten to kill the studio director. Really, like, gamers are awful. Gamers are awful people, and I know. Like, I've been in gaming media for 15 years. I know gamers are really, like, in real life, like esports events, great, passionate, love it. But online, they say they do and say the worst things.
So I am one of those people, by the way. I'm in League of Legends. I've been banned. I've had my account banned. So I am that person that commits to the toxic community. Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, I've never been banned, but like in FIFA, I could swear sometimes.
Gotcha.
But I tend to not do that anymore.
A lot of great questions coming into the chat right now. One of them has to do with whether you like traditional games integrating NFTs, or do you want to see? I'm having a tough time kind of formulating this question. Like, what are your thoughts about traditional games integrating NFTs as opposed to maybe just being from the ground up, building this game with NFTs in mind?
Yeah, look, like, I think that every game that has an economy could potentially be a play-to-earn game. And every game that has loot could use NFTs. Like, the only problem is, like, NFTs, like, we tend to think about NFTs always as super scarce. Like, there can only be 20,000 Bored Apes. There can only be 5 legendary cars. Like, and if you look at it from a gaming perspective, and there's 1 million gamers playing a certain game, yeah, you can't have just 5 legendary cars. You need to have 10,000. And so I think the difficulty is that they play a different number game. But what do I want? To me, it doesn't matter. I honestly think that any game that has an economy could potentially be a play-to-earn game. Okay, sure, there needs to be a cycle of demand and supply and blah blah blah. But it's not one way or the other. Actually, like, as from an NFT community perspective, we need the gaming industry. We need game developers with a gaming background to grow this ecosystem.
Mm-hmm.
And if they can do that through a famous popular brand, right now Ubisoft used Ghost Recon. Now that's out of their collection, Ghost Recon Breakpoint is literally one of the worst performing titles they have. They didn't use Assassin's Creed, or they didn't use what's that other shooter game? Team-based, not Ghost Recon, but chat, help me.
I believe you. I haven't played an FPS in a minute, but yeah.
Another Tom Clancy game.
Yeah. Rainbow Six Siege,
yes,
maybe?
Yes, Rainbow Six Siege. So Rainbow Six Siege, Assassin's Creed, those are popular brands, and they didn't use those. They used Breakpoint with a reason, because they wanted to test, right? They want to, and what happens? They allow people to win NFTs by performing crazy stuff, like 200 hours in the game, that kind of stuff, and people get angry because they can win stuff, but if they can spend 200 hours in a game and win the same skin that's not an NFT, they think it's dope. I mean, so it's literally a witch hunt on NFTs, because everybody thinks NFTs are $10 million punks, and that's literally what it is. Like it's people have the thinking process that every NFT is a $10 million crypto punk on the Ethereum blockchain that's polluting and destroying the world. And that's NFTs in a nutshell for the mainstream gamer. And not realizing that probably every NFT slash play to earn game out there doesn't even run on Ethereum anymore.
Yeah. It's a fundamental misunderstanding, or not having the understanding that everything that they're interacting with as a gamer could be an NFT, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Like literally everything they're touching in a game should be an NFT.
And then the other problem is that people think that it's immediately about earning. Like, the other misconception, and it's not entirely misconception, of course, but the other problem that people have is that they say, like, listen, I want to play a game and don't want my game to be about earning. Then don't focus on the earning. Like, if I want to focus on the earning, then let me focus on the earning. If you want to play as you do.
Yeah. They need to change that mindset to ownership. It's not about earning, it's about ownership. It's about actually owning the assets that you have in the game. It's not necessarily, it doesn't have to be about selling that asset. I could have an asset IRL that I know I'm never going to go to the pawn shop and sell, but at least I know that the government isn't going to come in, or some dude's going to come in and take it from me. It's much more about ownership than earning, for sure.
Yeah. Like some of the gaming companies, some of the blockchain gaming companies out there, they also try to switch the terminology around. So instead of play to earn, they say play and earn, or play to own. So there are some of them out there that try to switch the storyboard.
Okay.
And I think that's not necessarily a bad thing. I just think that play to earn sounds nice. But yeah, it should not be about making millions. That's a misconception.
Agreed very much. Hey, this has been a great conversation, Rob. I appreciate you coming in. I have a couple more lightning questions, and I'll leave it open to the chat and see if they want to roll as well. My lightning question here is, what metaverse do you see winning? And I know you have that terminology, or at least the last time we spoke, you had the multiverse, if you want to break that down. I think it's multiverse, but go ahead.
Yeah. First of all, there is, like, somebody who's building a metaverse is lying. Like, they are not building a metaverse. They're building a world inside the metaverse. The metaverse is like the Matrix. It's all around us. You breathe it, blah, 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 blah. If you build a metaverse, then you're not part of the metaverse. Like, the metaverse is. And if you can build a virtual world that connects with the metaverse and lets people earn, let people interact with NFTs, move their avatars around, etc. But you don't build a metaverse. That's like saying, I built the internet. No, you don't build the internet. The internet is the same way the metaverse is. So that's like the nitpicky me.
So which virtual world within the metaverse is going to be the successful one? Is it going to be Meta? Is it going to be Sandbox? I love crypto voxels, but I just don't see the development there over time. I think that they're having trouble scaling their company. But which virtual world wins?
Now, yeah, like if interoperability becomes a thing, then all of them win. And I think like the moment you can walk around with your avatar, and you're able to walk from one world to the other, from a pixelated voxel world to a hyper-realistic world to something polygon and colorful like the Central End, and you're able to use that same avatar everywhere, then everybody wins. And I don't think there's like there will be trends. There will be some that will be popular and others that will be less popular. But if we manage, not we, I mean, I'm not making anything, but if developers manage to make interoperability work, make play to earn work, then it doesn't matter. Like then a virtual world can be popular with 10,000 citizens, but another one can have 100,000 citizens. Doesn't make that world better. But it's just another corner of the metaverse. The same way that I live in a city with 1 million people, and my cousin lives in a 5,000 people village. So does that make that? Does it make it a different world? No, it's the same world, the same metaverse. Does it make it better? That's personal preference. I think there's no restriction on something being popular or whatsoever.
I'm going to force you into, I 100% agree with that ethos. First of all, I do agree in with what you just said, but I'm going to make you choose a metaverse, or I'm sorry, a virtual world that exists right now that you think is going to be the most successful in 2 years, 5 years.
Okay, let me see.
I'm interested in why you're taking, like, I'm interested in your thought process here of like what's going on in your mind, because you're taking time to answer here.
Like quick answer would be the sandbox, because I've been hyping that one for a long time. However, in recent months, NFT Worlds has made such a big impression on me that knowing that they have Minecraft support, or at least they're built on Minecraft, so they have like potentially a big group of gamers and builders that can move into that universe. NFT Worlds allows groups or DAOs or people to make their own economy inside that Minecraft world. I think it's a very empowering concept, and I kind of see them performing well as well. So I say the sandbox, but NFT Worlds close behind.
Love that answer, and I love this podcast. I appreciate you hopping on here, Rob. Again, guys, we have the head of content here at DappRadar, Robert Hugendorn. I was gonna attempt the actual enunciation there, but I'm just gonna leave it there. Great and fantastic answers to a lot of these questions, Rob. I appreciate you hopping on today. We're gonna wave bye to everybody here that's listening around the world, around the metaverse, and I hope you enjoyed it today, man. Thank you so much.
I did. Thanks for having me, Q.